Stangibelisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. I got an email this morning asking me a question the likes of which I've never heard before, never come across before. So I thought I'd put that question to you viewers and see if you have any ideas or answers, because I don't. It stumped me. I had no real idea. Suppose that you have several antennas and you want to bring them into your shack, either near each other in frequency or on different frequencies. In this particular question, the antennas were close to each other in frequency, but they all had coaxial transmission lines, coaxial feed lines. They all came into the station to the same rig, and you could, I guess, switch among them to decide which one you were going to use. I'm not sure how the arrangement was done that way, but the important thing was they ran right alongside each other, coaxial transmission lines, and his question was, will they interact with each other? They're shielded, supposedly. Coaxial cable is supposedly shielded if it's grounded somewhere along its length, usually at the station, but it could be grounded at some other point in addition or as well. But the point is that does the fact that the shields are connected to ground for DC necessarily mean that they're connected to ground for RF? And my take on that would be most definitely not, especially if the wavelength is anything comparable to the length of the ground connection, or the length of the feed line. The fact that the coaxial cable has an outer conductor surrounding a center conductor, and that outer conductor is connected to DC ground. In my way of thinking, that is not the same thing as shielding. In fact, the word shield is kind of a misleading term to use for the outer conductor of coaxial cable when it carries radio frequency signals comparable to its length. If you run them close together, like right alongside each other, bundled up, say, together for a length, certain span that's comparable to a wavelength itself, it seems to me that those cables are going to interact with each other. There's nothing you can really do to prevent it, especially if the frequencies are comparable. Shielding is not the same thing as that round, tubular outer conductor of coaxial cable. That isn't really a shield, is it? It doesn't totally block RF at all frequencies, does it? So if you want to have a broadband antenna, as an aside, my take would be to use a single transmission line and an automatic antenna tuner at the feed point where it meets the antenna, or an open wire transmission line with a transmatch designed for feeding balanced line at the receiver. Now this is just a receiving only antenna, but there are a lot of similarities in the way antennas behave for receiving as with transmitting. The only main difference being is you're not going to burn anything up unless lightning hits your antenna, which is a totally different and very important consideration in and of itself. But that's my question. How do you run coaxial cables right alongside each other and prevent their interacting? Can you even do it theoretically? In the real world, I would think you can't. Theoretically, maybe there's a way, but I just, comments are open. Please stay on topic, and let's hear what your ideas are. Let's read what your ideas are, and I'm sure that viewer will appreciate your input. He couldn't find an answer to that question anywhere in the literature, and there might be a good reason for that. It's quite possible that nobody really knows, and it's pretty doggone hard to prove one way or the other. Just one of those stump yourself for fun questions. So let's stump ourselves for fun, unless one of you happens to be an experienced enough engineer to have a qualified answer. But so what if you're not right? There's no way to prove you're wrong, is there? There is no way to prove, however, that I don't know. I just don't know. Do you? Stan Jabalisco, W1GV, saying 73. And so long, which, regardless of frequency, feedline type, length, or anything else, translates into so long, da-da-da-da-da-da.